Welcome back to the weekend show. We were just having a preliminary discussion of what our topic will be today, which is love and financial security. We're laughing already because, in fact, Ohima, before I introduce our guest, which would you pick?
I wanted to ask you that. Would you marry a broke man, Osasu?
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No. Would
Even
you?
if the man is hardworking. You can see he's hardworking, and God has just not smiled on him yet.
He should smile at himself. Okay, on today's program, we have a very, very distinguished guest speaking to us on this topic. We have Eru Ide, who is an entrepreneur. She's the owner of Accessories by EEI, and she's also a partner at Ennis Kitchen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, hello. Hi.
Thanks.
We also have to my right Mr. Itodu, who is a radio presenter with Kiss FM. He anchors a show called The Weekend Cafe.
Yes.
I see they're copying off of us, The Weekend. Welcome to the program.
Great to be here. Thank
Okay, so as Ohima and I said earlier, love and financial security is the discussion today. Which do you think is most important?
I'd say money. Money, you have to know what you're going into. Love cannot take you anywhere, really. As much as it's very important. No, for reals. As much as it's very important, right? You have to be secure. But aside that, you have to be content with what you have. Because money can be so much, can be so little. It depends on how you quantify it. But being content and being in love with who you have with you, or who you're with, that's key to being happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I'll say love because I mean, what happens when you marry for financial security and the money goes away tomorrow? Then what happens?
That's where being content comes into play. You have to be content with what you have, because you can't have so much and you're not sure what you're working with. For instance, now you have to know what values you're working with, what value, where you're going to, and what you aim to achieve with that relationship. That's key. But money is very important. A lot of us tend to shy away from the fact that, oh, we need money. You don't have to be extremely rich to be comfortable. You could just be you could have like a job that pays you monthly, or you have a business or something that you're comfortable with.
So the basic finances,
Exactly.
like the basic you should be able to meet up to the basic financial responsibility.
Yes.
And I'm sure you're talking about both from a male perspective and a female perspective.
Oh yes, definitely.
Okay.
I wouldn't honestly date somebody who is not comfortable. I don't want your money, but I want to be very sure that you're able to take care of your basic needs. You can't come at me for some very basic things that you could do yourself, which is what which is how it happens these days. I mean,
But I told her love is supposed to be sacrificial.
let's be honest though. Love is sacrificial, yes, but are you about that kind of life? Honestly.
What do you think?
Well, I think if you're comfortable to an extent on your own, then you don't have to look out for what the other person has. Because if you can take care of yourself, it's more about what the other person is bringing to the table. It might be intellectually, or it mustn't necessarily be, because the person might be broke because of circumstances. It mustn't be that they're lazy. I don't understand if you get what I'm saying.
So
because, for example, if you're going into a relationship solely because of money, then what happens when the money goes? Then you're stuck.
So what he said was the basic financial needs, being able to meet your basic needs. For example, your transportation, your household needs, putting food on the table, those things that you need to survive, your Maslow's hierarchy of needs, at least those needs, your partner being able to meet them. Are you saying that if you can meet those needs for yourself, you're okay dating someone who can't meet those needs for himself?
Yeah, then we have to ask ourselves, why can't he meet those needs? Is he working?
Yeah.
Is he being owed salary, for example? That can also be a reason why a man in a relationship might not be able to meet some certain needs. It mustn't be that he's broke, and what we need to define what being broke means. Is he just loafing around doing nothing? Then no, I will not be able to be with somebody like that. But if you meet someone who's driven, who you know that, oh, this person in a couple of years he will be something, he will make something of himself. Are you willing to work with the person to grow? I think that's the question.
Exactly. I was going to come to that, Itodo. You see, before we get to that advanced stage of maybe a relationship that has developed into a marriage or something close to marriage, we've seen the situation where people are dating still at the campus level, and you can see ladies begin to look at the people they are dating and say, this guy, no, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to go with this guy. This guy has no future ambition. Nothing is going to come out of this. Nothing is going to come out of this. But is that stage not too early to judge who will be successful in life and who will not be, because we've seen cases where people look like nothing is really going to come out of them, and then just a few years down the line, they become billionaires. And then the girls who dumped them while they were in school begin to regret that. Well, he was my boyfriend on campus. I didn't even marry him.
So this brings to mind the fact that why are you dating who you're dating? Because dating or being in a relationship means you're complementing each other. That's what it should be. But these days it tends to be, you know, be selfish. You want everything for yourself. Now the thing is, you have to know where you're coming from, what you aim to achieve, and the values that, you know, make you who you are. If a guy, for instance, is not comfortable at that stage, but there are things you see in him, there are things you think he would grow, you could see potential, not necessarily, but it's about what you aim to achieve from that particular relationship before you decide if you want to go forward with it, or if you just want to pass time and, you know, just have fun in the immediate and, you know, everyone goes their separate ways.
With the advent of social media, I believe that there is now more pressure on relationships. For example, university girls now believe that they have to carry the latest iPhone, the latest Samsung, the latest bag, and all of this stuff. And they're not working, they're in school, they're in university. So they put pressure on their partners, their boyfriends, to get those things for them. Do you believe that the advent of social media has increased the expectations of people in relationships?
I'd say yes. Everyone wants to show off for the gram. Now, during the week, I did like a poll on Instagram, and, you know, I asked the question, what do you look out for in a relationship? What's your basic aim of going into a relationship? And a lot of people were like, oh, communication. No one said money, no one said love, communication and privacy. Once you're able to get those two things, you're able to work your way around. But now, we can't deny the fact that money is very important. As much as, it depends on how you define your relationship. Why are you dating? Okay, you tell the girl, you have to have your own money. You have to be very comfortable. I can't give you the iPhone, for instance, or I can't give you this. This is what I can provide for you, because you're not there to feed off me. You're there to compliment me and, you know, make me a better person, as I would do the same to you.
How often is this kind of relationship? Because what I see typically nowadays is women or men, and let's stress this, not just women, because a lot of times the conversation always focuses on women depending on men for financial security. But we also see an increase in men depending on women for financial security. As a matter of fact, a lot of people who I've talked to these days that are married, the females are the one who are carrying the financial burden, in the family, in the marriages. So what's your perspective on this? Do you believe that, again, the social media angle, because our generation, we're very tech savvy, do you believe that social media has increased the burden, the impact, the influence of what people expect financially from a relationship?
Especially as the video gave Chioma assurance.
Assurance with a Porsche.
And social media has a great influence on the youth these days. So I think, yes, it has. A lot of people go and watch TV and they see what other people have. They're following different celebrities and they also want to be like them. But then again, I think if you're content, you don't really have to look to what other people have. I believe people grow at their own pace. If you know what your capabilities, you know what you're capable of, if you know where you're going, then you won't be bothered by what's happening around you. Because, I mean, it's just like a plant. It takes time to grow, and as long as you know that, oh, at the end of the day, I'm going to achieve this, then it really doesn't matter what's happening around you. And as a lady, I think we should teach ladies to be more dependent on themselves.
Independent,
independent. And not dependent on the men or other people in their lives, because I think society has so much pressure on ladies to get married, and they don't focus on other things. They're just, oh, I want to finish school, I want to get married to a rich man. So they don't develop themselves. Yeah. And at the end of the day, they go into marriages expecting so much from the man, and it crumbles when they don't meet the expectations.
So you believe in the idea of a self-made woman?
Yes, of course.
What do you think about this? Are you going to be comfortable marrying a self-made woman, a woman who doesn't give a damn about how much you have? And
yes, totally. I mean, you should have your own money.
What if you don't?
You should do something for yourself. You should be able to do basic things for yourself, right? As much as we're married together, I know what I should do for you, or I know my responsibilities, over time. You should be able to do. I mean, for instance, you come meet me, or you want to get. So I'm trying to look for the most basic thing right now to mention.
And when you say basic, what are those things you're talking about?
You want to go shopping for personal effects, and you can't meet me for the money. Come on.
What if the house
That's just being selfish.
What if the house you live in, your wife owns it?
That'd be good. That would be really good.
All the cars in the garage.
That would be very good. The thing is, you have to just be comfortable with who you are, and boom, you're
I
happy.
want to stick to the topic of self-made women now because I realize that it's also intimidating for men when a woman is self-made. Not all men, but sometimes it's very overwhelming. I just read a post 2 days ago with this lawyer who's highly successful, and she was engaged to a man, an investment banker. He was earning much more money than she did, but he said to her one day that I am so depressed because I wish you were just a teacher or, you know, someone with an easygoing job, you know, but with you, you're just so boisterous, you're just so assertive, you know, it's a little overwhelming for me. And she literally cried herself for like 48 to sleep for 48 hours. Then she packed her things and called off the engagement because she felt like, wow, I never saw signs of this man feeling this way towards me. And now I'm about to enter a marriage, and what would my career be? What would my life be with somebody like this that looks at me as, you know,
feels
a
threatened.
competitor and feels threatened by me, despite the fact he's earning more money than her. So with self-made women, is there hope for us in this day and age? Because, you know, we also try to propagate messages to other younger women that, for example, if I buy myself something, I wouldn't go on social media and say, oh, I just got this from Bay, like most women like to do. I would say I empowered myself because I worked my behind off. I'm able to afford this, and I'm able to live this kind of lifestyle. So do you believe that that information is too much? Do you believe that's intimidating to possible suitors? Do you believe it's a turn-off for some of them? Or do you think it's encouraging for the man who is destined for us?
Yeah, well, I think the only reason a man will have a problem with his lady being successful if he has inferiority complex, because I see no reason why you should be threatened. If you should encourage, you should help her grow. I mean, if she's growing and she's doing well, it's also to your advantage. I mean, it's something to complement you. So I see no reason why any man should be threatened by a lady who's doing well. It's something that's applaudable, not something to be frowned on.
Let's come to the issue of contentment. What really is contentment? Because sometimes there's this risk of mistaking contentment for complacency and no longer willing to try or try to get things done. So where do we really draw that line?
I'd say being happy with what you have, but you know, making up your mind to going further and, you know, trying harder to get in more, pretty much. I mean, you have to be ambitious as much as you don't want to overdo, you know, things and try to seem like a very selfish person and a very fraudulent person. Yeah, you have to be very ambitious. But being content with where you are doesn't necessarily mean you're lazy and you're lagging behind. It means you're willing to try better or try more to being a better person, but at the same time, you are okay and you're happy in your space. I think that's what contentment means to me. It can mean anything to anybody else, but for me, you're happy in your space, but you're trying harder to being a better person than you are, you know, in the immediate.
Well, what do you think about that?
I think contentment is an awareness of self. You're aware of yourself. You're aware of your process. You're aware that you will get there in time. You don't have to be bothered or perturbed by what's going on with other people. You don't have to measure your growth by how much your friends or peers are growing. It's knowing, okay, I have this, I will manage this, I will be able to do this, and in, you know, whatever time it takes, I will get there. So it's not outdoing yourself. You know, oh, for example, you have ₦1 million in your account, and because your friend has a car, what's the price? You know you can afford it, but because you want to impress other people, you take the money and buy it. I think so. If you're aware of yourself, if you know that, oh, I will get there, you won't be bothered by getting what you're not able to afford.
So how do we balance the pressure? We live in a very competitive society where the whole idea of success is a function of how well you are measuring up with what somebody else has or what somebody else is doing. How do people actually deal with that pressure?
That's what I just said. If you're content, you won't be pressurized by what's going on in society because you know that in time you will get there. Because
pressure can force you out of contentment.
No.
To the extent that you then begin to...
That's where your will comes in. You have a strong will. If you have a strong will, you're really not bothered by what's going on around you. Because you know, because you're not there yet, doesn't mean that you wouldn't get there. in time you'll get there. It's a process. So you focus on yourself. You focus on developing yourself. You don't just start bothering yourself by what's going on or be bothered by what's happening. It's just you're in time, your process, you'll get there. I think it's contentment.
But what happens with content of oneself versus content of you and your partner? So pointing back into the conversation of love and financial security, as an individual, I'm content with myself, what I have today, what I've achieved, and where I'm going tomorrow. I'm very driven. But what happens when I then, you know, as you said, date a partner who doesn't necessarily level up? Am I then forced to be content with my situation and his situation? Is that contentment enough for both? Or is it a situation where I should just focus on me and encourage him to build on his own?
Yeah, I think that's the best thing to do. Focus on you and encourage him to build on his own. Don't, I don't know if you've seen the movie Acrimony. Don't indulge him to be lazy. Don't encourage him to be lazy. Don't give him the opportunity to be lazy. But at the same time, you should focus on yourself. Don't belittle the man because, you know, that would just rub off on his ego. So work on yourself, encourage him. As if you're not dating a lazy person or somebody who just wants to live off you. You should be able to tell the difference.
Well, sometimes, can you always tell the difference? A friend of mine told me the story. I'm sorry I'm laughing because it's actually quite sad. Her husband was, well, her husband at the time was literally waking up every day at 7 a.m. and going to work. He dressed up in a suit, carried his briefcase, went out, came back at 8 p.m. every single day. And for 2 years, you know, she actually thought he was going to work, but he just never had money. Always saying, "No, my work is owing me this and this," you know. So he would always leech off her. Only for her to call his office one day and they said, "Your husband hasn't worked here for over 2 years." So she sat him down and found out that every day he just goes to a beer parlor from morning to evening. From morning to evening, just goes to a beer parlor and comes back home. And so with the situation,
that's a very lazy man.
with a situation like that, obviously she didn't know her husband was lazy. She thought he was working his behind up every single day, day in, day out. And his bosses were the evil ones who were not paying him his salary. So how do you mitigate a situation like that?
Obviously, the man is lazy because if, for example, you were laid off, it's something you tell your partner and you find a way to do other things with yourself. But go to a beer parlor every day for 2 years.
But she had no idea. So how do women deal with men in that situation? For 2 years, you're supporting him because you believe your spouse is hardworking, right? Because there was no way for her to find out, right? So what... I feel like, do you believe she was encouraging him at that instant? Maybe she should have put her foot down and maybe he would have, stepped up to the plate.
Yeah, I think it gets to a point where you need to put your foot down to let the person know that you can't just be using me. And I think she may have known the truth somehow. You know, women, sometimes we tend to lie to ourselves. We know the truth, but then we tend to cover it up because we want to believe what we want to believe. So I can't say, she must have seen the signs, she must have had questions, and then, she just probably just was lying to herself. So she was probably aware of some things that were not right, but she encouraged him, I think.
Interesting. Itodo.
I'd say he was making an effort, going out every morning. I mean, it's not easy to take a bath in the morning and get dressed and go out. It's not, honestly.
So a beer parlor every morning.
No, but the thing is, he was selfish, not telling her what he was going through. And I'm sure he wasn't necessarily sure how she would react to him not having a job or not being able to provide for the family. So his best route out of, being confronted was to pretend to be, what he's not. Yeah, to be doing something just to, make an effort. But I think if he had opened up to her as to his situation and what he was going through, maybe, just maybe, she would have understood and, worked things through with him.
Itodu, Eru, thank you so much for joining us
Thank
in
you so
today's
much.
program to explore this issue. As you've heard it here, be honest with your partner, be open with them, discuss this financial issues, or he might obviously will pick love over financial security. I like that.
Definitely.
It inspires me. So we'll take a break right now, and when we return, some more serious issues on the political desk. Don't go anywhere.